Hello and welcome. Today, I invite you on a journey not just of making more money, but of becoming the kind of person who is wired for wealth. Because here's the truth most people never heard. You don't get rich by accident. You get rich by design starting in the mind. The mind is your most powerful asset. It's the factory that produces your ideas, your focus, your risk-taking, your habits, and ultimately your results. And if your results aren't what you want financially, it's not because you're broken. It's because your brain was trained in an environment that wasn't built for wealth. But the beautiful part, what was trained can be retrained. Let's talk about how to train your brain to make more money. Here's the truth: mindset without movement is wasted potential. You can rewire your brain all day, but without action, it stays theory. The key is inspired action, not random hustle, not busy work, but decisions aligned with the new you. Every time you take action based on wealth thinking, your brain rewires deeper. Every time you say yes to growth, to investing in yourself, to building something of value, you're creating a new identity. Train your brain to recognize opportunity and then move. Start the business, pitch the idea, create the product, learn the skill. Action tells the mind, this is who I am now. Most people spend their lives chasing money on the outside, but never take time to look at what's going on inside, the thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns that are quietly running the show. And that's why they stay stuck, because money is not just paper or digits in a bank. Money is energy. It responds to the energy you project. It flows to the mindset that is ready to receive it, manage it, and multiply it. Until you shift the way you think about money, you'll keep experiencing the same cycles no matter how hard you work or how much you try. It all starts with your inner blueprint, your subconscious programming about what money is, who gets to have it, and how much you believe you deserve. And the truth is, most of us weren't taught how to think rich. We were taught how to survive. We weren't taught how to grow money. We were taught how to fear it, save it just in case, or even feel guilty for wanting more of it. That kind of thinking might keep you alive, but it will never let you thrive. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine. It repeats what it knows. If it has learned to associate money with stress, shame, or struggle, then it will naturally move you away from opportunities that could lead to wealth. It won't matter if a business idea is right in front of you, or if someone offers you a breakthrough chance, your mind will find a way to sabotage it, doubt it, or delay it. That's not bad luck. That's misalignment. When you train your brain to see money differently, everything begins to shift. You start thinking in terms of possibilities instead of problems. You stop seeing money as something outside of you and begin to recognize it as something you are capable of creating. Because that's the truth. You are the source, not your job, not the economy, not your circumstances. You, the wealthy, don't think about money the way the average person does. They don't see it as scarce. They see it as abundant. They don't panic when they lose some. They find the lesson and bounce forward. They don't feel guilty about receiving wealth. They understand that more money in the hands of good people does more good in the world. And these aren't just beliefs. They're mental habits. You can build them. You can install them like software. And when you do, your results begin to match your new identity. It's not about pretending to be rich or faking confidence. It's about reprogramming your perception of value, worth, and opportunity. When you understand that money is a reflection of the value you create, you stop waiting to be chosen and start choosing yourself. You start looking for ways to solve problems, help others, and build something meaningful. That's when the energy of money begins to flow, because you're no longer blocking it with fear or limitation. So how do you begin this process? Start by becoming aware of your current beliefs. What do you really feel when you think about money? Do you feel tension, fear, guilt, or do you feel excitement, possibility, and responsibility? The answer to that question will reveal where your mindset currently lies. And wherever it is now, it can be upgraded. You have the power to shift from survival thinking to abundance thinking. You can train your brain to expect wealth, respect wealth, and grow wealth. It starts with a decision to no longer be at war with money, to no longer see it as the enemy or the answer, but as a mirror of your mindset, a reflection of how deeply you believe in your own capacity to create, serve, and receive. And once your mind believes it, your life starts showing it. The second step in training your brain to make more money is to go deep into the hidden layers of your belief system, because that's where the real transformation begins. You see, most of what holds people back financially isn't happening on the surface. It's not about how many hours they work, how smart they are, or even how many opportunities they're given. It's about the quiet, unnoticed beliefs that sit beneath the surface, beliefs formed in childhood, repeated through years of conditioning, and now deeply rooted in the subconscious mind. If you've ever found yourself stuck in the same financial loop, struggling to save, afraid to invest, earning but never keeping, or simply feeling blocked from real growth, then chances are there's a subconscious pattern behind it. Most people don't realize that they've been carrying negative beliefs about money for years. These beliefs aren't always loud, but they're powerful. They sound like, I'm not good with money, money is hard to make, wealthy people are selfish, or if I become rich, I'll lose myself. And the mind, being incredibly loyal to what it believes, will make sure your actions stay consistent with those thoughts. This is why it's so important to go inward, to identify, challenge, and rewrite those beliefs, because what you believe, you live. If your mind is trained to see wealth as dangerous or success as something only others can have, you will unconsciously avoid it. You'll self-sabotage without knowing it. You'll downplay your abilities, procrastinate on the things that matter, or walk away from opportunities that could change your life, all to stay loyal to a belief that no longer serves you. But the beautiful thing is this: beliefs can be changed. The brain is neuroplastic, meaning it can be rewired. You are not stuck with the mindset you were raised with. You can uninstall the programs of fear, guilt, and lack, and install new ones that reflect who you truly want to be. It doesn't happen overnight, but with repetition and intention, your brain begins to shift. And when your beliefs change, your behavior changes. And when your behavior changes, your results change. Start by becoming the observer of your thoughts. The next time you catch yourself thinking something limiting, pause. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it even true? And is it helping me create the life I want? Most of the time, you'll find that the belief isn't even yours. It was passed down, absorbed, or assumed. And just like it was formed, it can be reformed. Replace it with something empowering. Say it to yourself daily. Write it down. Speak it out loud. I am open to receiving wealth. It is safe for me to be financially successful. Money is a tool I use to create freedom and impact. These aren't just words, they're tools. And when repeated with emotion and belief, they begin to sink into the subconscious and build a new internal reality. Your brain needs repetition to believe something new. That's how all programming works. The same way you learned your name, your language, your fears, you can now learn confidence, abundance, and financial power. It's all trainable. And when you begin showing your mind a new story, we'll start creating new outcomes. The greatest wealth is not in your bank account, it's in your beliefs, because when your beliefs shift, everything else follows. That's how you take back your power. That's how you become the kind of person who not only earns more, but keeps more, grows more, and lives in total alignment with abundance. Once you've started to shift your beliefs around money, the next step is to install the mental habits that wealthy individuals live by every single day, because success doesn't just happen. It's a byproduct of how someone thinks consistently. Behind every financially abundant person is a mindset rooted in clarity, discipline, and vision. They don't just hope for wealth, they've trained their minds to expect it, create it, and manage it. And the good news is you can train your mind to do the exact same thing. Wealthy thinkers don't react to life, they respond with strategy. They don't waste mental energy on things they can't control, focus their attention on what they can influence, their time, their skills, their mindset, and their decisions. While others are caught up in distractions, drama, or short-term gratification, they're playing the long game. That's one of the most powerful mental habits you can develop: long-term thinking. Most people want quick wins, instant results, and overnight success. But sustainable wealth is built through consistent, intelligent choices made over time. When your brain is trained to think long-term, you begin to make decisions differently. You start asking better questions. Stop buying things just to impress people and start investing in things that will compound your value. You begin to see time as your greatest asset, not something to kill. Every day becomes a building block. Every decision a stepping stone. That shift in focus changes the way your brain processes opportunity. It begins to scan for what aligns with your future, not just your feelings in the moment. Another powerful habit of wealthy thinkers is that they focus on solutions, not problems. It's easy to see what's wrong. It takes training to look at challenges and ask, what can I create from this? Or what does this teach me? People who earn more money consistently are people who offer more solutions. They look at the world and ask how they can add value. That mental shift from what can I get to what can I give that solves a real need is a wealth-building habit that rewires your entire relationship with income. They also practice emotional mastery. This doesn't mean they never feel fear or doubt. It means they don't let fear drive their decisions. They've trained themselves to stay calm under pressure, to stay focused when things go wrong, and to stay committed when progress is slow. That's because they understand that emotions are temporary, but results come from discipline. And that discipline begins in the mind. Your brain will want to avoid discomfort, take shortcuts, or quit early. But when you've installed the mental habit of staying the course, override those impulses with clarity. Wealthy minds are also curious and humble. They know they don't know everything, and that's what keeps them learning, improving, and adapting. They don't get stuck in ego or assume they've arrived. Instead, they ask questions, seek mentors, read books, and surround themselves with people who stretch their thinking. That's how they keep growing. That's how they stay ahead, not just financially, but mentally and emotionally too. So if you want to train your brain to make more money, don't just chase outcomes, build habits. Habits of clarity, habits of focus, habits of learning, planning, investing, and solving. Because the person you become through these habits is the person who naturally attracts more abundance. Wealth isn't a matter of luck. It's a matter of pattern, and once your mental patterns align with growth, success becomes inevitable. As you begin developing the mindset and mental habits of wealth, there's another powerful tool you must use deliberately, your imagination. This isn't just about daydreaming or fantasizing. This is about intentionally visualizing your financial goals and future with clarity and emotional intensity, because the brain responds deeply to what it repeatedly sees and feels in the mind's eye. You vividly imagine, your brain begins to accept as real. And once it accepts something as real, it starts directing your thoughts, behaviors, and focus toward making it happen. Most people let their imagination work against them. They spend hours mentally rehearsing failure, worrying about bills, doubting their dreams, or playing out worst-case scenarios in their heads. And what they don't realize is that their brain is constantly absorbing that as input. When you keep imagining struggle, your brain strengthens the neural pathways of stress and scarcity. You start to expect loss, fear opportunity, and hesitate when you need to act boldly. The outer world then reflects that inner programming, and the cycle repeats. But the exact same imagination, used with intention, becomes one of your most powerful financial tools. When you train your brain to visualize abundance, to see yourself living in alignment with wealth, to feel the emotions of security, freedom, and purpose, you begin to shift your entire energetic state. And energy matters, because you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. Visualization allows you to become that version of yourself before the external reality shows up. This is not magic, it's neuroscience. The brain doesn't distinguish much between real experiences and vividly imagined ones. When you consistently visualize success, your brain begins to form the same neural patterns it would if those things were already happening. You start to act more confidently, speak with more authority, notice opportunities more quickly, and carry yourself like someone who belongs in the room. Not because you're faking it, but because your mind has been trained to feel at home in that reality. Imagine waking up each day and taking just 5 minutes to close your eyes and see your ideal financial life. See yourself checking your bank account and feeling proud, not anxious. See yourself walking into a room with confidence, negotiating deals, creating value, leading with calm certainty. Visualize the life your success provides, your home, your family, your freedom, your peace. Feel it in your body. Anchor that emotion deep into your system. This practice wires your brain toward belief. And belief is everything. Once you believe something is possible, and not just logically, but emotionally, your entire system begins to shift. You start thinking in terms of possibility, not probability. You stop questioning whether you're good enough, and you start acting like someone who has already achieved what you're working toward. That change in identity is where real transformation begins. Visualization also increases motivation and focus. You regularly see your goals in your mind, they stay top of mind. Your subconscious becomes alert, scanning the world for resources, connections, and ideas that align with that vision. You begin to notice what others miss. You move with more purpose. You're no longer drifting, you're directed. The world responds to people who know where they're going. And visualization helps you know it before you even get there. It turns vague wishes into sharp goals. It keeps your mindset anchored in the future you're building, not the past you're trying to escape. And most importantly, it trains your brain to normalize success, not as something foreign or distant, but as something familiar and expected. The more clearly and consistently you can see yourself living in wealth, the more naturally you will begin to create it. As your beliefs shift and your mind begins to embrace the energy of abundance, something powerful happens. You begin to feel a pull to act, not from fear or desperation, but from clarity. Because a trained mind doesn't just think differently, it moves differently. And this is where most people stop. They do the inner work. They change their beliefs. They visualize the life they want, but then they wait. They wait for the perfect time, for more confidence, for someone to give them permission. But money doesn't flow to hesitation, it flows to motion. If you want to train your brain to make more money, you must also train it to take inspired, aligned action. Action is the bridge between your inner transformation and your outer reality. It's what signals to your brain that the new beliefs you've installed are more than just thoughts. They are commands. When you act from a place of confidence, even if that confidence is still growing, your brain starts building evidence to support your new identity. Every step you take reinforces the belief that you are capable, deserving, and ready for wealth. This is how change becomes permanent, not just by thinking about it, but by living it. And this action doesn't have to be grand or risky. Sometimes the most powerful shift comes from simple, intentional steps. Starting that online store, signing up for the course, reaching out to the person who inspires you, creating a budget, writing your business idea down, and finally building it. These small acts compound over time. They signal to your mind that wealth is no longer a wish, it's a direction. But action becomes powerful only when it is inspired, meaning it's rooted in your vision, not your fear. There's a difference between chasing money out of lack and moving toward money from alignment. When your thoughts are empowered, your actions become magnetic. You're not forcing outcomes, you're flowing with clarity, you're not hustling blindly, you're moving with intention. That is the difference between burnout and breakthrough. A person with a wealthy mindset doesn't act randomly. They make moves with awareness. They calculate risk, not out of fear, but out of strategy. They understand that failure isn't the enemy, it's feedback. So they try, they test, they learn, and every time something doesn't work, they get sharper, not smaller. They don't quit, they adapt. That mindset alone puts them miles ahead of others who let one setback confirm an old belief that said, see, it was never meant for me. You have to train your brain to feel safe in discomfort. Real growth doesn't happen inside the comfort zone. It happens when you act despite the unknown. When you walk into a room you feel underqualified to be in. When you send the message, make the pitch, launch the product. Those moments don't just change your income, they change your identity. They stretch your internal capacity to handle more, earn more, become more. And the more you act from that version of yourself, the more real it becomes. It's not about waiting until you feel fully ready. It's about moving forward anyway and letting readiness catch up. You don't become confident by waiting. You become confident by acting through the uncertainty again and again until your brain no longer fears it. This is how momentum is built. It's how new neural pathways are formed. It's how you go from dreaming of wealth to building it. Your thoughts prepare you. Your vision guides you. But your actions shape your reality. Once your beliefs are aligned, your habits are sharpened, and your actions are inspired, there's one final layer that can't be ignored, your environment. Because no matter how strong your mindset becomes, your daily surroundings are reinforcing scarcity, fear, or limitation. It's like planting a seed in toxic soil. The brain is always responding to input, even when you're not aware of it. Every word you hear, every person you interact with, every image you consume, it's all feeding your mind. That's why training your brain to make more money isn't just about what you think. It's about what you allow into your mental space consistently. Repetition is how the brain learns. What you hear and see every day becomes your truth. If you're constantly surrounded by people who complain about money, who mock ambition, or who believe life is just about getting by, your mind starts normalizing those patterns. Even if you don't agree with them on the surface, your subconscious begins to absorb that energy. Slowly, silently, your goals shrink, your confidence weakens. You begin doubting the vision you once felt so deeply. That's why it's not enough to just remove limiting beliefs. You must also create a new environment that reflects and supports your growth. One of the most effective tools you can use is daily affirmation, not vague or empty phrases, but intentional, emotionally charged statements that speak directly to the reality you are choosing to build. When you say, I am a magnet for wealth, money flows to me with ease, or I create value and abundance every day, you're not just speaking words, you're instructing your brain. And over time, your brain responds. It begins filtering your attention, spotting opportunities, building confidence, and reinforcing your identity as someone who is meant for wealth. But don't stop with affirmations. Go further. Design your entire environment to match the life you want. That means curating what you listen to, what you watch, and who you surround yourself with, to content that expands your thinking, not content that numbs it. Read books written by people who've done what you want to do. Put yourself in rooms, virtual or physical, where people are dreaming bigger, doing more, and thinking in abundance. This exposure rewires your brain faster than anything else because it makes the unfamiliar feel familiar. You may have to make difficult choices. You might outgrow certain conversations, certain habits, or even certain relationships. That's part of transformation. It's not about cutting people off with judgment. It's about choosing what kind of energy you allow around you every day, because energy is contagious. If you're constantly surrounded by scarcity, it becomes harder to maintain a mindset of wealth. But if you place yourself in an environment of growth, even when it's uncomfortable, your mind rises to meet the new standard. This is how you create a feedback loop of success. Your thoughts lead to action, your action shapes your reality, and your environment keeps your mind anchored in the right direction. You begin to live in a world that supports your evolution, not just internally but externally. And the more consistent your environment becomes, the easier it is for your brain to stay aligned with your goals. In the end, wealth isn't something you chase, it's something you grow into. And the more you support that growth through your surroundings, the more naturally abundance becomes your default. Because when your environment reflects your vision becomes your reality.